Okay, here we go on the second video for chapter 1. Hope you recall what we did. Hope you're getting along okay with the assignments. I encourage you, if you have any concerns, contact me. The first two words that we're going to look at two terms that appear in the literature. One term has kind of been taken out, and by the literature I mean the DSM, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Disorders, but the terms neurosis and psychosis. Uh, I have been led to believe uh, through some of the reading of the literature that even though in the earlier editions the word neurosis appeared, it was taken out because it was a Freudian term, and Freudian used neurosis, and we don't want anything to do with Freud, so we're going to take his word out also. We have the term psychosis. There's been somewhat of a limited usage on that, even though both of these are still employed by the active therapists and active psychiatrists. Now, what is the difference between the two terms? Neurosis. Neurosis is basically, there's probably more than one definition, but neurosis is this. A person is doing something that is atypical, that is not normal as far as their culture, as far as society is concerned, but they're doing it anyway, and they know it is wrong, but they still continue in that type of behavior. Where psychosis, a psychotic individual, has built their own reality and they are living within that reality. And so since they are living with the reality in which they have built, there's nothing wrong with them. Do you have that? I've built my own reality. I'm living within that reality. I'm using me as an example. So therefore, there's nothing wrong with them. So the neurotic individual engaging in a behavior, they know it is not right, but they still go ahead and engage it anyway. A psychotic individual builds their own reality, and they're living with that reality. Now, what they say is, and this is a saying, and by they, I mean kind of the psychological world, whatever the psychological world consists of, is that a neurotic individual will build a castle in the sky. Neurotic individual building a castle in the sky. A psychotic individual will live in that castle in the sky. That's one way. I don't know whether that gives meaning to it, but at least I'm introducing you to the two concepts, and until some great revelation hits us, you'll have an idea of what we're talking about. So the psychotic individual lives in the castle in the sky. I don't know who collects the rent and that type of thing. Maybe college instructors. I don't know. But anyway, that's the difference between neurotic and psychotic, according to Marv. All right. Look who we have here. Barbie. Oh my. Oh my. There's Barbie. Yeah. You remember Barbie? Imagine some of you even had a Barbie. And it wouldn't surprise me, maybe some have a Barbie. And then not only with Barbie, but we had Ken. Now, there's two views to Barbie, and there may be more than two views, but at least we have two. Here's a doll for the enjoyment of an individual, and she is blamed for causing eating disorders, anorexia and bulimia, because of her figure. I never did hear if Ken caused any type of disorders. You know, he was a big macho man. Yeah, kind of like yours truly. But anyway, we had Ken and Barbie was blamed for this. Now, you're going to have an assignment that talks about cultures and how what goes on within a culture, what goes on within a society can really cause some of these disorders. Whether she's to be blamed for it, I don't know. I'm not even going to go there. I personally have always liked Barbie. I believe it is in England where they have an individual who, real live individual, who is a Barbie doll, has a Barbie doll figure. Matter of fact, there's about 100,000 women, this is the estimate, who do have a Barbie doll type figure. All right, just a little bit about what we're doing here in abnormal psychology and the importance of it. And I'm bringing you in some historical aspects. There was a fellow by the name of Lee Iacocca. He was kind of instrumental in developing the Ford Pinto and the Ford Mustang. And they also, what Lee Iacocca and one of his partners wanted to do was to build a type of a mini, M-I-N-I, van. Ford didn't like this idea. Ridiculous idea. Let's do away with it. We don't like that idea. We call them minivans now today. We have caravans, and so naturally, this one individual who thought that the minivan would be a good idea, he was fired. And I believe Lee Iacocca quit, went to Chrysler because Chrysler was having financial trouble, and he helped bail out Chrysler from their financial problem. I'm not going to go into that, but Lee Iacocca had a government loan, and there were so many people that opposed the government loan, and then it was paid off before it was due, and it kept Chrysler afloat, and it kept people working. Well, as a result of this, kind of the minivan was developed, and also Lee Iacocca may have been instrumental, depending on who you read, in keeping the Jeep name alive, and the Jeep name is associated with Chrysler and a lot of individuals like this. All right. Now, in one of your forums, just asking you, this is nothing personal or anything like that, but you know of someone with a mental disorder? Do you know of someone who has an anxiety disorder, a panic attack? Do you know someone who's OCD, obsessive compulsive behavior or disorder, schizophrenia, any of these, an addiction? Do you know of someone? And what this is to kind of develop the basis that we are aware of abnormal behavior. Now, when I ask you to relate to this in forums, please do not feel as though I'm trying to pry any type of personal information out. I am not. If you don't feel comfortable with it, don't put it in. But if you can change it a little bit, do feel comfortable, it would be appreciated. It's reported that in a lifetime, 50% of the people have some type of mental disorder. Now, there's a stigma connected with it. We're going to be talking about those stigmas in a little bit, but there's a stigma connected with it. It's a bad reflection on the family if a person has a psychological disorder. And this was a thought that was perpetuated for a long time, and maybe it still is. Okay, so we have another individual in our society, and none other than Lady Gaga. Is she atypical? Is she abnormal? Is she statistically deviant? Do you feel as though she's living a distressed life? How would you classify Lady Gaga? This is just a rhetorical type question. You don't have to respond to it. But there are some individuals that, hey, she's off a rocker. And of course, now we also have another individual, Miley Cyrus. How would you categorize Miley Cyrus? Now, in this again, and in our history of abnormal psychology, we have an individual by the name of John Hinckley, and he shot President Reagan. Insanity defense, and I believe that to a point, he gets release time. But he shot the president. No, he didn't kill the president, but the insanity plea, and that is a legal term, insanity. That is not a psychological term, but it is a legal term. So I just wanted to bring that in about insanity. I'll visit with you just a little bit more about that. But even though they think they can put him through some type of rehab, and even though he shot the president, I believe he still gets some release time. Now, there's less than 1% of the individuals that do avail themselves and do receive the insanity plea. So until the next video on the history of abnormal psychology, I'm signing off for now.